Hi, I'm excited to share with you guys some knitting. I finally cut my Ramblin Woman sweater and I finished something else. So lots of fun stuff to talk to you guys about. So maybe we should jump into the fun stuff. Well, it's all fun. But my name's Gabie. Gabie's Knit Goodies here on YouTube. Gabie's Goodies on Ravelry and Instagram. And I think Gabie's Knit Goodies on loveKnitting.com. And I finally did it. I took scissors to my Ramblin Woman cardigan. The pattern is by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. And I knit this a while ago. So let me show you the back first. If you remember, the pattern calls for 7 different colors of lovely wool yarn that I would have loved to have used, but I didn't have that and I didn't want to spend the money for it either. My mom had given me some acrylic yarn she actually bought at a thrift store. So it was old acrylic yarn, but it was like a set. And I had these colors in it. I think I only have 4 colors. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, only 4 colors. So it called for 7. I took it down to 4 different colors because that's what I had. And I love the color palette. I am not in love with the texture of the yarn I used. But considering it is acrylic yarn, I think it knit up in terms of looks very well. I have to say, because it's acrylic yarn, even though I blocked it, this still wants to curl up a bit. And it's a little stiff. You can really see this shaping. And before I cut it, I didn't particularly love the shaping. It's pretty narrow at the bust, and then it's a steep A-line. And also, I think my row gauge must be different from the pattern because it came out shorter than I think it should have. Let's see. So, first thing I did, and what I did with my swatch, what I did with my swatch was I put a piece of fabric on it when I cut my swatch to test this out. And then I put it in my sewing machine and did like a zigzag stitch, and that worked. And so I thought that's what I was going to do. So I laid this out on my bed and I put my fabric down and I seamed it like I was going to with my zigzag stitch. But I realized that it took away a good amount of the stretch because of the fabric. And so I decided just to try it without the fabric. And that totally worked. The yarn didn't get all messed up. I was worried that the yarn would get caught somehow in my sewing machine and that it wouldn't work. But it did. It totally worked. And I did the little zigzag stitch, and I decided to do 2 on each side where I was going to cut so that it makes sure all of the yarn was locked in really well. Let's see if you can kind of see that. So after I did that, I actually cut it. Here's a close-up here of those 2 zigzag stitches. You can't see them in like this part very easily, but you can in the dark. So you can see those 2 zigzag stitches. And because it's of those zigzag stitches, I can actually stretch it some, which is good. So yeah, I put the 2 rows of stitches so that I wouldn't have to worry about my yarns coming undone. And you can see them frayed here, but they're not coming out of those stitches. If you want to take a look at the back here. I don't know if you can see the zigzag stitches are here, and so they're all caught on the back. I think it worked pretty well. Can't believe I'm doing this. Look how pretty that is. I love this part. Yay! It's very exciting. I'm going to show off the inside of my garment just because. Look at all these floats. That's the inside. Isn't that pretty? I like that. So after I cut it, I was able to try it on as a cardigan, and I like it better that way because you can overlap it and kind of at an angle on the bottom, so it doesn't like scoop out from my bust line quite so steeply. But I realized that it didn't stretch at all because it is acrylic. And I realized that my sleeve was too short. Both sleeves were too short. And so I needed to fix that, otherwise I would never wear it. Because I like long, cozy sleeves in a cardigan. So, if I can lean over, this is the sleeve length. And that's just way too short for me. That's how it hangs when I have my arm down, actually. That short. So that's a number of inches before my wrist. So I unpicked unraveled the rib and knit this straight part a good bit longer, probably to about here or so, and knit the straight part. And then I started doing the rib, and I'm almost done. I think I actually want it to come down to about here, and then I can always cuff it, like if I need it shorter and I want it like right at my wrist. But then I can have it down where I can grab it with my in my palm if I want to. So it gives me options. So I think that will make it much more wearable. Because this is color work and this is not, these are all the same stitch count right here, but because this is not color work, it really balloons out a bit, which I don't mind. It's kind of a design, looks like it's designed that way. But just be aware of that. Your color work tends to be tighter than your non-color work, and you're just stuck in it, stitch in one color. In retrospect, maybe I should have gone down a size for this part, but I don't mind the balloony aspect of it. And this is a very long amount of plain color compared to the all over color work everywhere else. So another thing I might do differently if I had to do it again would be maybe repeat this section again before this, or even just repeat the whole thing again. But I didn't realize that I would have this much plain. It is very hot. Even though it's acrylic, it's still warm. It's warm in my room here. So, yeah, so I cut it. Yay! And I have all the ends here because they were in the steeking part. So you're supposed to pick up stitches for the button band, which I plan on doing. I need to stand up so y'all can really see this. I'll attempt to do that. But before I stand up so you can see the bottom of it, it has, kind of the square collared traditional cardigan thing going on. When I tried it on, initially it kind of folded under like this, and I kind of liked that V neckline. And I was kind of toying with the idea of maybe like using my sewing machine and just sewing it down instead of doing a full button band. I don't know. I'll probably do the button band. We'll see. But I don't love this huge section of white right here. But again, I'm just being picky. So, as you can see, when I don't have it like crossed over, you can kind of see that it comes in here and then scoops out a pretty good amount, and it mine sits, let's see right here, it's about this much from my hip bone. So right at middle of my behind is where it falls. I think in her picture, hers falls past her behind. So mine is definitely a little bit shorter. And so I kind of like, I like the crossover look with this because it kind of fixes that big volume I have from my bust line out. And I think from what it looks like, it's kind of meant to cross over. I haven't decided if I am going to use a belt, which is what she has, or if I'm going to use like one of those clasps, I think it was a Jewel, that has those leather ones that you can like screw onto it and you could remove it if you wanted to. I think the Rainy Knits, the girl who I was inspired by in terms of her colors for this, she used one of those, and I like that because if you do use a belt, you kind of cover up some of your color work. I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. I'm not quite there yet. Still working on my sleeves. Back to working on my sleeves. I am going to like it a lot better once it's the right length, though. And I'm kind of debating about maybe undoing the bind off here. Like maybe I had to snip it right here, I think. And then undo the bind off and then knit the ribbing longer. I don't know. That's a lot of work. But it does roll up some. Still debating about that one. But I have to say, I am excited again about this sweater. After putting it aside for a really long time, I kind of got disheartened, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But I just didn't really love it anymore, even though I'd worked so hard and I liked the colors and all of that. It just, my sleeves were too short, and when I tried it on, it really did this big bell thing, which I wasn't thrilled about. And so I just kind of put it aside. That, and I think I was nervous about the steeking, because I've never done it before. It's my first time. So I was nervous about that too, and didn't quite know what to expect with it. So I just stuck it aside and just kept putting it off. But I am glad that it's not set aside anymore, even though it's starting to get warm here. Sometimes we have cool mornings, and it's actually been a really cold spring. So I could have worn it a lot up until today, I feel like. Today's gotten warm. So by the time I finish it, it'll be ready for the fall, I guess. So I have to unpick this here and then knit it and make this sleeve longer, finish the other sleeve, and do the button band, and then figure out a closure. The other thing is, I would love to have pockets with it. I'm one of those people who really likes long sleeves, and I like pockets. So I'm thinking that because the steeking seemed to work so well with this, with using the sewing machine, I'm considering sewing a slit and cutting it and adding pockets. I don't know how difficult that would be. Has anyone else ever done that? Actually steeked pockets after the fact? I mean, that's a lot of really pretty knitting. I would hate to ruin that. But I think if I sewed it, I might be able to. I don't know. It would kind of be, I think it would gap a bit because I'd have to take up a little bit of the room of the stitches on the outside with sewing and cutting. I don't know if that's a good idea. I might not do that. It would be nice with pockets though. Everything's nice with pockets. I guess, you know, I could, this is a lot of work though, I could do this pattern on basically a swatch size, a pocket size, and then put that on the outside. Then I don't have to cut my knitting. That's always an option. I don't know how easy of an option that is, but it is an option. We will see. One step at a time, right? Okay. I just pulled out a couple of my stitches. Oh no, I'll fix that later. So I have that, and that's very exciting. Again, the Ramblin Woman by Caitlin Hunter, done in acrylic vintage yarn. I'm not sure vintage makes it any better. In fact, it's probably the opposite. It makes it worse. It's not soft. It's not a super soft one. It's definitely more of an outer layer, but it'll be washable. But putting vintage in front of the acrylic yarn makes it sound fancier. Okay, so I'm going to show basically a finished object. This I finally finished, and I played yarn chicken with this. So this is my Swiss tea pattern that I am still working on. And this one's knit in a large size, so I meant it to be oversized. And it's knit out of Knit Picks comfy fingering cotton yarn. I think it might have some acrylic in it too, but I think it's mainly cotton, Pima cotton. It's very soft. My original design and my original shirt was in a short sleeve version of this in a slightly thicker cotton yarn, but I really wanted long sleeves. So I made long sleeves. I think I'm getting glare on my camera. I'm sorry about that, guys. I need to figure out why it's glaring so much, because I think I had problems with that last time. Anyways, so I made long sleeves, but I played yarn chicken, so the sleeves aren't as long as I would like them. Again, I would like them like almost like right here, just into my palm, and they are not. But I have no more yarn. But I think, I don't know, I haven't blocked it yet, and it may stretch out a little bit. So I'm gonna block it and see how it looks. And if they're at an awkward length, which right now I feel like they're just a tiny bit too short, kind of like my other sweater was. In fact, I think those were shorter than this is. But I feel like it's just a tiny bit too short on my wrist. Then I think I might like cuff it and make it 3/4 length. So anyways, Swiss tea, work in progress in terms of the pattern, but I did seam it, knit in 2 pieces, front and back, seam sides and shoulders, pick up stitches for the neck, and then pick up stitches and do the sleeves. Sleeves just plain stockinette. Now the regular or the original pattern I designed is just a little rib sleeve, which if I don't like this I could always frog the sleeves and just go back to that version. But here's that bottom pretty pattern. I really do like it, and I really like the big boxy knit because I measure more of a size small than a size large, so I'm excited to have it. It's just gonna be comfy and lightweight and easy and cozy at the same time. Perfect for summer nights, right? At the beach, which I'm hoping that I'll be able to do this summer. I love to go to the beach. Okay, so I think the last thing I'm going to show you for today, I have been working, I think last time I mentioned I might work obsessively on my Camisole number 2 by, what is it, My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I was right. I really love the yarn, and I'm excited about the end product. But I think I told you that I accidentally originally knit like the extra large as my cast on, and then the first couple of inches, and realized it was just way too big, and then looked at the pattern and realized I had knit the wrong size. So I went back and I am knitting the medium, and now, I mean, look how narrow it is. It is in ribbing and it will stretch, and she says that, but it is a little unnerving to be knitting something for myself this is not a cowl, this is a shirt, this is a tank top, and look, it looks like it's a cowl right now, but it's like a 3x3 rib, and so it's gonna double in width, and it's not blocked. So I mean, even if I stretch it out into the, I think it'll work. If it doesn't, it'll really be like an undershirt, like a tight undershirt. We'll see. But I finally knit enough so that I am at the part where I am binding off for the underarm, and I think I'm starting the shaping, the detail that's like right here, and I'm excited about that. I'm gonna let you take a look at this beautiful yarn again. Hypothesis Yarns, Atlantis colorway. I think it's 75/25, merino and nylon. And I'm a little bit nervous. I think it's 463 yards. And I only had one skein. But I think looking at my yardage, I should have enough. I'm really hoping. But I only have this much left. So I feel like I could be playing yarn chicken here, because that seems like a very small amount. But at the same time, I think the only other real knitting I have to do is like the shaping from here up, and then little straps. I mean, they're like spaghetti straps, like 3 stitches wide, something like that. So, I mean, that's not much knitting. So y'all think I have enough? I hope so. You know, I figure if I don't have enough, then I will just pull in a different color that looks good with it just for those straps. I don't think that would look too bad. But, I mean, all I have to do is just here and here, and then straps. So I'm gonna have faith. It's gonna be enough. You will see next time if it wasn't enough. And I'll probably cry. No, it's gonna work. Okay. But I like it. And I'm crossing my fingers that when I block it, it fits. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to one of my little girls. That would be so sad. It's such nice yarn. I don't think I really have anything else. I've worked a little bit on my socks, but they kind of took a back seat because of that camisole that I'm doing. And now that became like my mindless knitting because it was just 3x3 all the way around. Now that one I'm having to think about because I'm doing the decreases, and I just started that section of it. So I am having to think now with that. So it's not my mindless knitting anymore. But I think that's about it. I'm excited about all of my knitting. And I'm excited that someday soon I might get to go out in the real world and show off my camisole and my cotton Swiss tee. I'm still working on this pattern. It's getting close to being finished. Things have been kind of busy because I'm having to record classes for my homeschool co-op in addition to like my regular homeschool stuff with my kids, and then coordinating all of that. So I have had less time, I think, probably than usual in a way. or more interrupted time, like less mental time than I used to, even though I used to just not be home very much in comparison to what I have today. So I haven't gotten as far on that pattern as I'd like to, but I'm hoping to before too long. And then hopefully some of you guys will test it for me. That would be lovely. It'll be good summer knitting. So I hope everyone is well. I'm still praying for everyone that you are safe and healthy, and that you have jobs that pay you, or that you get paid even though you can't work during this time. And I hope that we will get through this and come out of it soon. Bye guys.